Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the August 23rd meeting of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Our thought for today is Proverbs 21, verses 28 and 29. A false witness will be cut off, but a credible witness will be allowed to speak. The wicked bluff their way through, but the virtuous think before they act. And our dog warden has our dog from the kennel this morning.
Good morning. This is kennel number 29. It's a Cairn Terrier mix, male. It's available for adoption on Friday the 25th. We have 31 other dogs in the kennel, so come on down and check them out. And also on Saturday, we're going to have the first annual event. It's we're calling it the Day for the Dogs. We're going to be grilling out. We got some face painting for the kids, balloons, coloring books. We have a little thing, that blow-up thing that they jump in and stuff. We're going to have that, and we're just going to have fun. So come and see us. It's going to be from 11 to 4 on Saturday.
Do we know about how many dogs we'll have up for adoption that day?
A dozen, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So come ready to adopt. $66.
Yes.
Include your license, spay, neuter, everything. So. Madam Clerk, I'd like to amend the agenda to include a resolution due to the fact that we have had an issue with a few people taking advantage of the 3-minute rule for public comment week after week. We're going to tighten up the policy. I hope that has been in place long before we got here. Mr. Innes has put together a resolution for us to adopt, and there are copies on the back table if you'd like to take with you. But I'm going to have the clerk read the entire resolution, so I'd like to make that motion. I need a second.
Second.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, can you please read that resolution?
In the matter of adopting a public comment policy for Lorain County Board of Commissioners meetings. Whereas board meetings are business meetings for the purpose of conducting business of the county required to be conducted in open public meetings, and whereas open meetings laws do not require that the board permit public comment. Whereas it is the desire of the board to allow public comment in a manner that does not disrupt, delay, or interfere with the necessary business of the board, and whereas it is the desire of the board to establish rules for the orderly presentation of public comment, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners pursuant to Revised Code Section 305.09 that the following rules regarding the conduct of proceedings of board meetings is hereby adopted. 1. Public comment shall be allowed up to a maximum time limit of 3 minutes per person. Each person is permitted one time period of comment per meeting. 2. Public comment is not intended to be questions addressed to the board or other persons in attendance. Comment is also not to be conducted in a debate manner with the board members or other persons present. 3. The board reserves the discretion, if due to length of the agenda or other pressing business of the board, to cancel public comment at any particular meeting. The board will announce cancellation prior to anyone commencing the public comment. 4. The board reserves discretion to limit public comments to matters included on the agenda. The board will announce such a limitation prior to anyone commencing public comment. 5. The board reserves the right to limit comments that are duplicative of comments already made during the current or recent meetings for the purpose of avoiding repetition of the same comments. 6. The board reserves the right to deny public comment regarding matters that pertain to pending or imminent legal proceedings. The board may determine at any time during the person's comment that such comments concern such matters. 7, persons speaking during public comment must identify their name and residence.
I make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Further discussion?
I'd just like to ask, I guess, as the rookie on the board here, Madam Clerk, you've served as a clerk for how many years?
Well, I've been with the county 21 years, clerk probably 15, 16 now.
And I guess I've noticed, at least on the agendas that I've received, that it says, please limit comments to 3 minutes. How long has that been listed on the agenda?
As long as I've been here.
So all the years
20
you've
plus
been
years,
here,
yes.
that's been on there. Okay.
We've
And
just
I-
been lenient.
Yeah, and I would just, point out, I guess it's just to remind everybody, of this time and having served on committees, whether it was on council, whether it was in Columbus. I know that there were, times set forth, and I guess I have to admit, I was a little surprised when I first got here how long some of the conversation went, being the newcomer. So I think that the board over the years has certainly been, I think, more than generous with providing, the ample time. But at the same time, I think in most cases you should be able to get your point across in 3 minutes.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Under Resolutions, number 1, investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Travel.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personal actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorraine County Commissioners.
Mr. Cortez?
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. I do have a few personnel issues I'd like to discuss with the board in executive session, specifically potential hires at Children and Family First and Solid Waste Departments, and possibly 911. Also, I want to update you on continuing labor negotiations with the operating engineers at the bridge and the United Steelworkers of America with our 911 employees. And I'm still working on potential purchase of real estate and one pending legal matter. All of those subjects are allowable under the Sunshine Act for executive session discussions. So I'd ask at the conclusion of our regular meeting, we go into executive session, we discuss those matters that I've identified. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the minutes of August 16.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Approve the enterprise zone tax abatement agreement with the city, between the City of Oberlin, Ohio, Agronomics LLC, and Creekside Properties LLC, which calls for a 19,250 square foot addition to its Oberlin facility at a minimum of $630,000 and creation of 3 new full-time jobs. Abatement will be for 10 years on real property at 75% abatement.
So moved.
Second.
Jerry, did you have anything that you wanted to add? Come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have with me this morning Rob Lando. Rob runs Agronomics. He's familiar to all of you because this is his 3rd time coming before this board in the last 2 years. And we need about 100 agronomics, if I could find them, in this county. Their story is incredible, and Rob's going to make a short presentation this morning on that. And but just to update the board on, we have done the proper things that are required by Ohio law. The school boards were notified before, given the proper 14-day notice, because the agreement is 75% for 10 years, which state law allows a 14-day waiting period. They have met that. They have been before the Oberlin City Council on Monday night, and the council unanimously approved this agreement and said the same comments that I'm saying this morning they would love to have more agronomics in their community. So I'd ask Rob to come up, kind of give you, he's going to give you a little update where they're at right now and what's been going on out there, and I think you'll be pleased to hear that.
Thank you.
Rob?
Welcome back.
Good morning, good to be back.
Good to see you.
Thank you, thanks for all your support. I wanted to just say before I get started that for anyone who is interested in investing in Lorain County and in our case in Oberlin, they need to come before the city, come before the commissioners and see the kind of support that's available that's allowed us to do a number of the things that we are doing and the kind of growth that we're experiencing right now. It's really fantastic, and that cooperation has been magical.
Good.
So-
Good to hear that.
Green.
There we go.
And I'll run through this quite quickly for you. It's really mostly an update that'll tell you a little bit about what's going on, why we're back to see you again, and tell you a little bit about what's happened since we were here the last time. So I thought I would just take one moment to tell you what's kind of behind agronomics, what makes us tick. And we have two goals. We have a big poster in the factory, and everybody, I think, in the building knows our two goals. They are simply to attract and maintain exceptionally satisfied customers and to remain profitable. Oh, I lost that one. To remain profitable. Those are our only two goals. We don't have quarterly results that we have to meet. We don't have growth expectations that are part of our goals. We simply want to make sure that our customers are exceptionally satisfied. And fortunately, what happens if you do that fairly well is that you grow, but that's kind of a secondary thing. It's not one of our goals. When we were here the first time, we talked to you about and got your blessings on a factory addition in 2016, where we added 15,000 square feet, and we've filled out that 16,000 square feet and taken on a number of people, a number of new products that we've developed that are now being manufactured here in Lorain County, and that's one of the reasons why we're back today. The next time we were here to see you was to do our office expansion. We had run out of space for engineering people, for project planning. We really just had every office full. And so since being here the last time, we have built our office expansion, and we filled out all of those offices, and now we're starting to think about some spare space that we did build at that time and finishing it out for additional offices. But for the moment, everybody has a place to sit, and it's working.
Tastefully done, too, I might
Thank
add.
you. Thank you. We're
It's
very
very nice.
pleased. So why are we back so soon? It is about growth, as it turns out. The slide that you see shows from 2012 through 2016 that we've had steady growth, but for 2017 and 2018, our business is actually more than doubling. And it's due to a number of different things. We are continuing to diversify our product range and satisfy more customers, all in horticulture, but different parts of horticulture. And we need additional space to be able to do that development work and the production that's required for those customers. We've added some new products. This one's a little bit interesting. I think it's interesting. I hope you'll think it's interesting too. Growers, people who grow flowers and vegetables, they grow in substrates that are made up mostly of perlite and peat moss that comes out of Canada. And neither of those items are considered sustainable products. And so there's a large push in the horticulture industry to get away from non-sustainable items and for things to be organic and also sustainable. And so a company out of North Carolina has found a way to take excess pine material and put it through a highly refined process and make it become a replacement for perlite and peat moss in a grower mix. And fortunately, we were dubbed to be the ones to manufacture the equipment to be able to allow growers to do that, to take this product and then use it on their site. And so we're in the process now of building the 40th system, which has happened all in the last 18 months for this purpose. In fact, we have 2 technicians in Arizona in Utah installing a line this week. So this has become kind of a big deal for us. We've also developed several new machines. One of them is a new seeding machine that allows growers to seed difficult shaped seeds like marigolds and dahlias and zinnias and peppers that are kind of not round, irregular. And this machine allows those growers to seed those seeds into trays in a uniform and efficient manner. And we've also developed a robot for planting plants. It's a bot, and it essentially picks up seedlings and transplants them into pots on a machine that has already pre-filled those pots. And that's a machine that we're also building here in Lorain County. So there are a number of different initiatives that are underway. And then we're doing a lot of large projects, and these are the logos of some of the companies that we're presently working for. And they range from universities to crop science, and in fact, we're also working for some medical marijuana facilities. And in fact, one of them is hoping to locate here in Lorain County if they obtain a license. So lots of different things going on, but primarily for these large companies, we're providing automation that allows these growers to move their plants throughout the greenhouses through the life of the plants, to track and trace every movement, every fertilizing, everything that's done to the plants has to be tracked and traced, both because of the highly regulated environment that they're in, but also because of the research that some of these companies are doing. And then there's a labor crisis, and that labor crisis is being felt, I think, in many industries, but our customers are feeling it very strongly. There's a lot of labor that goes into operating a greenhouse or a nursery, and many of our customers just are short every day, 20, 30, 40, 50 people to do the kind of work that's necessary. And part of it are the wages, but their wages are being driven up very, very quickly. And what our customers are telling us is that it's not just about wages, it's about working conditions. It's the kind of work that's being asked of people, and they have choices. They can choose to do other things. So part of what's driving innovation in our business is developing products that allow workers to be more efficient, a more dignified work experience, less physical tote and carry, if you will, and tools that will allow people to have a more enjoyable work experience so that they'll stick around past noon on their first day. And that is a real challenge for many of our customers, and it's part of what's driving more automation going into our industry. Our employee base is generally local. People as far south as Penfield, I think, but generally speaking, they're local. I believe when I came before you the first time, we only had one employee in Oberlin. And we have grown a number of employees, and now we have 9. Most of our employees are in Lorain County, and we've had a number of people actually move into the county to fill some of the positions that have developed. So that's kind of neat. Our wages have grown dramatically, as this slide shows, from 2015 when I came before you the first time, 2016, and projected wages for 2017. So we've seen good wage growth, and that's a part of the additional hires that we've made. When I came before you the first time, we had 25 employees, and the enterprise agreement that we entered into, we committed to hiring an additional 5 employees for that agreement, and we built out part of our factory. Then I came before you the second time for an amendment to that enterprise agreement to add those additional offices that we showed a moment ago, and we agreed to hire 3 more employees as a part of that enterprise agreement. So that was going to take our staff level up to 33 people, and that would have been through the end of 2019. But in fact, we now have 41 people, and so we had agreed to hire 8 people through the end of 2019. We have hired 16, and I think when I came before you before, I told you that we take these commitments very seriously, obviously, and that every business goes through different cycles. We want to be careful to not overpromise and under-deliver, but our goal with our customers and with our commitments in general is to under-promise and over-deliver, and I think in this case, it's turned out really well.
Done that.
Sorry,
Our
I thought you were done.
wage is above $57,000, so I believe we would be considered a good payer. And many of the jobs that we have are skilled assembly, programming, project management, installers, so people who work all over the country and have high levels of skills. I brought some pictures of some of the folks who work for Agronomics, and many of them are the new hires that have come through these initiatives that we've taken on together. We have a pretty happy crew.
Yeah, they look pretty happy.
The proposed addition is on the bottom right hand of the building plan. So our hope is to build an additional 19,250 square feet of warehouse and assembly area, and it's to continue to build out some of these new products and to have more assembly area. And it will be built in the same manner as the rest of our facility. Our goal is to make it look, when this is all done, as if it was done at one time and was done intentionally. And our investment will be somewhere between $630,000 and $820,000. We're still working through bids and contractor issues. This is just another slide that reflects back on that employee growth all the way through the end of June of this year at 41 employees. So our pledge is to hire 3 more additional permanent full-time employees under this abatement, or under this tax abatement request. And they would be, in the first year, $60,000 full-time employee, another employee the second year at $45,000, and a third employee in the third year at $45,000, with a total investment minimum of $150,000 in additional payroll. Like any business, agronomics has to be assured that we're positioned in an advantageous locality that values our growth, our stability, our clean manufacturing model, modern facilities, competitive salary and benefit packages, extensive investment into future products and services, and the contribution that we make to the local economy. So for planning purposes, we want to be certain that our situation is that we're in a pro-growth community that understands these needs and provides competitive property tax treatment to match our investments in facilities and additional personnel. So our request is for 75% tax abatement for the additional property that we'll be building out, or for the additional building, for 10 years. And that's all I have, but I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Land-wise, is there any more land available if you need to expand further?
Well, on our current site, there's room for one last build
Okay.
of 15,000 square feet, and the site is partially prepared for that now. And all of the water catch basins have been done to support that next build. So maybe I'll get back to see you
Hopefully
sometime
we'll
soon.
have you come back again.
A wonderful job. It's great to work with a local company who's expanding. I mean, expansion's the easiest way. I mean, everybody talks about, bringing in new companies. That's the toughest part. But when you're able to help a local company expand, that's where the economic development really works.
Sure. Well, this cooperative union works really well. It's worked well for us, and I think it's a great model.
Yeah, it's something we try to stress all the time, is that the majority of your new jobs are probably going to come from the companies already here. And that's why the retention is critical, so that you can then have the expansion. I can tell you, I've heard lots of presentations. Very rarely do folks come in and overperform on the employment side. And for those wages that you're paying, believe me, it's very much appreciated. Those are the kind of wages where people can actually, start supporting a family. So we appreciate what you're doing, and we're always here to assist you in any way we can.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I have a couple questions of Mr. Good. Jerry.
Can I ask, before he sits down, what kind of training do the employees, they have a college class at LCCC that
Well,
helps
the
train
Automated
these?
Manufacturing Technologies program at Lorain County Community College is incredible. And we take as many of the graduates from that program as we can
Okay.
each year. We work hard to attract those people and bring them in during their education process. And we've hired 2 more out of Lorain County Community College recently.
Okay.
That program is a great way for a person to hit a few critical milestones over 2 years, just 2 years, and graduate with an associate degree, and then be able to earn $40,000, $50,000 in the very short future, and potentially $60,000, $70,000, and $80,000 within some years if the person is talented and driven. So it's a great program, and I would encourage people who are looking to build an excellent career in a technical field to look towards that program. It is fantastic.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
The great company, it's a good abatement, but I have a couple concerns with the agreement, and I haven't had a chance to look at it. Nothing but the abatement, it should go forward, but why is it that we vacated the authority of the Board of Commissioners to Oberlin to decide if there's a problem with the abatement? They're the ones that can rescind it or modify it. I thought that in these, you look and answer before you listening to me.
No, I'm listening.
Okay?
'Cause-
I just went through it, and I see it's all, now, Elyria and Lorraine own their enterprise zones, but the one in Oberlin, I believe, is owned by the county, right? And it's the negotiation authority has been designated to Oberlin to negotiate the agreement, but the authority for the abatement lies with the Board of Commissioners. Accurate?
That is correct, and that
Then-
is why we inserted.
Well, wait, that was just a question. I didn't ask any
No.
more than that.
No,
Okay?
you are correct.
Okay, so I understand it's in there, but I don't see anything in section 1.3 and other section that keeps speaking to Oberlin to change, modify, or Oberlin to do things, but it doesn't say anywhere where the county can do those things. And we talked about these clawbacks long ago with regard to the county being, commissioners, we found ourselves in a situation with these municipalities before, and these villages before, where, and this is a good abatement, so please don't misunderstand my intentions here. This is a good company, we've seen them before, but we've had issues come up with these abatements in between, working with this company, and my understanding is we need clawback clauses that that retain your authority to deal with those issues, should at the local level they fail to. And I'm not going to mention which ones, but we had some battles over these things before. This abatement cannot be granted without the Board of Commissioners' blessing on this abatement, but yet you lack any teeth in this abatement in the future to deal with it should it go south.
That was the reason that we inserted number 13 into the agreement.
But it says, the city of Oberlin may terminate or modify the exemption from taxation. It doesn't say the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners.
No, I understand, and we can make that very clear. The language that was used there was copied from the state when they.
I understand. So my suggestion, and you've done a great job here, Jerry, and I was out and I wasn't able to get to this, okay,
Yep.
until this morning. I came back yesterday, and so just,
Yeah.
I think the abatement, the issue with the abatement, and it's a good abatement, and you should consider approving that. But I really want a little time to work on this language to make sure that you retain the authority to deal with any issues. Everybody has the best intentions today, and sometimes things don't work out 8 years or 6 years or 7 years from now. We've seen that. And I have not found anything in these agreements, just scanning through it, that gives them, without going back to the local municipality, any authority to deal with a problem here. And we've talked about this.
Yeah, we'll make sure in the future that.
No, we're going to make sure now.
Yeah, we can modify this.
Okay,
We're
so,
just
but we
adding-
can't modify if they vote on it today.
So can we amend it right now?
Well, the city of Oberlin's already
Yeah.
voted on this, so it's got to go back.
Yeah, which creates an issue.
Well, it doesn't create,
I'm just saying for the company, it does. They want to start here in September, but.
well, again, this agreement, we have discussed this, okay? And we discussed it the last time we had those abatement problems, and remember how long it took to straighten those out when we tried to deal with companies that weren't meeting the commitments of their abatement. Now, we can certainly have our council look at it in between our executive session, and if you want to modify it here and do your work here and then send it back for Oberlin's consideration, that's fine. But I'm going to highly suggest here, and I'm sorry it's so late because I wasn't here and I didn't see this until late, but I'm going to suggest to you that while the abatement's a very good one, it's a great company, they've done great work, and we need more companies like that. We need to maintain your authority here without giving it away so you can deal with these problems. You're the ones that get blamed. And so that's all I have to add. That's my due diligence to you, and I'm sorry it came right here, but this is the first time I'm looking at the agreement.
So can we approve it as long as Oberlin agrees to the changes necessary for what you suggested? Jerry, how?
Jerry, what do you recommend?
Well, I suppose we could approve it subject to changing a provision there.
Well, there's actually about 3 provisions that'll need to be changed to correct that.
Okay.
It is your enterprise zone, during the negotiations establishing enterprise zone, you have delegated the authority to negotiate the agreement to the local level. But at the end of the day, you have to approve that agreement or it doesn't go into effect. The city can negotiate anything you want, but it's by your authority that the agreement goes into effect. And I don't believe that it's your intention any longer to delegate the authority to decide whether companies that fail to live up to that agreement, that the local authority should be making that decision. We've seen what's happened with that in the past and the criticism you've taken from those poor decisions in the past.
Well, it's important to be consistent in our language, and I can tell you that, you know, if I'm going to be asked to approve, I certainly want to make sure there's a clawback provision. And I think, as Jim pointed out, this is certainly it's a good agreement. Company is a good company. Things are going well. But ultimately, if we're responsible for making sure that everything is kept in check, and the only way that this is approved is through our authority, you know, I've always supported clawback provision. That's just a safeguard for the taxpayers, and if we're responsible for approving this, then that should be a provision that's consistently.
I would say that there are clawback provisions. It's just that who's deciding what in the agreement is the city of Oberlin.
And it was made as a copy from a last agreement, not addressing the concerns we brought up in regards to our.
There are provisions for dealing with, you know, certain failures, but it was decided after about a year or two ago, after our last go-around, that we were a little lax in allowing the local authority to take the authority of the Board of Commissioners, and when they weren't exercising that authority in what we felt was a strong, responsible manner to the taxpayer, that you were not going to allow that to be delegated out anymore as part of any agreement. I'm just telling you what's here. I briefed through it just now. I don't see what I think we need there. We can modify it in between. It's only 2 or 3 sections that we need to sub in some language. I'm sure we can get that done, and you can come back and deal with this after executive session.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
And then Oberlin can do what they want with it, but it's a good abatement. It's a good company. They've created jobs. Their payroll is really large, and they're high-paying, high-tech manufacturing jobs. I don't want anybody to leave this room feeling bad about this, but things change over years. We've seen it.
So we'll just hold this until after executive session.
We'll let Jerry look at it
Take a look
for
at this,
changes.
2 or 3 provisions in there.
Okay.
Yeah, the law changed in 2004, and that's why number 13 was added, and Jim's correct. And the reason 13 was added had to do with school boards. And I don't know if you remember, some of you may, Matt probably does, with his interaction with Columbus. There was a big discussion in Columbus about school funding. And there was discussion at that time of how pilots were used and how there's a payment in lieu of taxes and that. So in June of 2004, the state legislature added this language. And we hadn't had it in our agreements before I got here, and at Jim's coaching and spot on, we added that to the agreement. However, we need to carry it one step farther, I'm hearing, and that's adding the county as one of the parties.
Okay.
So,
At the end of the day, it starts here, it needs to end here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what we had discussed for the last couple of years after the last issues we had.
yeah, our issues were companies that create, well, one said they would create 34 jobs, created none.
Well, I really don't want to go back down that dark road. We corrected as many as we could, but
Yeah.
in some we lacked the authority to do anything, and we did not get the
Yeah.
local support that we needed while we got all the criticism. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we do that. It's not a big deal. It shouldn't,
Right.
it doesn't affect the abatement, it doesn't affect anything. And my apologies to the board. I was out for a few days, and I didn't look this over, and I'm just catching it. I was briefing to it right now real quick. That's why the late moment. My apologies.
We'll take care of it, Ron. Just some paperwork.
Yep, and I do want to say I've had a great working relationship. I've got Carrie Handy here and Jan Mackert from the city of Oberlin. Oberlin's been great to work with. They represent a great partnership, the kinds of community partnerships I think we want to nurture here in the county, and so I'm glad to have them here with me this morning.
Thank you.
I want to acknowledge them, so
Thanks.
I'll
Okay,
be
thank you.
back.
We'll hold it till after we have some dialogue with the
We'll
Alderman.
withdraw.
Withdraw.
I withdraw my motion.
I withdraw my second.
Okay. Moving on.
Mhm.
Engineer.
As soon as I write what I was writing.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
That's
Didn't mean to
all
rush
right.
you.
Under the engineer, authorize various applications to OPWC for various projects in the county. West River Road resurfacing, estimated project cost is $559,000. OPWC funding is $497,510. Funding will be made available from MVGT Accounting Engineering Projects in the city of Elyria for the local share. 2, Nickel Plate Diagonal Road Bridge number 0754 replacement. Estimated project cost is $350,000. OPWC funding is $311,500. Funding will be made available from MVGT Account Engineering Projects for the local share. Island Road Bridge number 0441 replacement. Estimated project cost is $220,000. OPWC funding request is $195,800. Funding will be made available from MVGT Accounting Engineering Projects for the local share. And then Columbia West River Road Culvert number 564 replacement. As estimated project cost is $216,886. OPWC funding request is $127,000. Funding will be made available from MVGT Accounting Engineering Projects for local share.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion.
The MVGT motor vehicle gas tax.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure everybody knows what that is.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Cortez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I lost my agenda in the flurry here. It's somewhere in my paperwork. I have, no, okay, I'll yield to council. Thank you.
Mr. Ennis.
I have several matters of imminent or pending litigation that I just wish to update the commissioners on the status of those.
Commissioners report.
I pass. I don't have a report today.
No report this week.
Had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Donald Sheldon and John Mulaney with the Nord Family Foundation. We had a very good conversation. You may have read recently the Family Foundation is stepping up with a $200,000 grant. That's significant. That will focus on the opiate crisis and epidemic that we're facing in Lorain County. The hope through that grant is to get everyone working on the same page so that we can hopefully win this battle that's lingering right now in the county, make things better for our children, our communities, and our families. The Veterans Treatment Court graduation was held on Monday. I want to thank Judge Walther. I was honored to be asked to speak there, and just it's so important to point out, you know, the special steps and significant steps that are being made in this county to help people get their lives back together. Sadly, I continue to hear people say, you know, well, folks make bad decisions, let them die, let them go down the wrong road. But, you know, especially in the case of the veterans here, these are people who served our country. We deserve to go the extra mile to help them turn their lives around. And a lot of these individuals, and we've been at those graduations in the past where they admit when they first come in, they're pushing back. They don't really want to be part of the program. But finally, they realize at the end of the day that it's better to get on board. They're normally thankful that they do. And as I've said before, when I was in Columbus, one of the best events is Faces of Recovery, where the Addiction Board would actually have folks come in and one at a time for about 45 seconds. They'd step in front of the podium and talk about how they used to sleep at night in their vehicle every night for 10 years or live on the streets, and now they're gainfully employed. You know, their kids are in college, they own a house, they got a full-time job, they're paying their taxes, life is good. And I know Joe Gees here. Joe's one of the big mentors helping out over there. You guys are doing just amazing work with these servicemen and women who are getting their lives back on track and making the transition back. And just talked about the important thing in life is, and you hear it stated through a lot of positive motivation speeches, that if you just replace the word should with the word will. Instead of I should go to the gym, I will go to the gym. That's one I need to adhere to myself. But replacing the word will with the word should can really change your life. And then also attended the Main Street meeting for the Elyria Main Street Big Pops concert coming up this weekend. Hope folks will come out and attend. It's truly a great event that brings people in from outside Lorraine County, throughout Lorraine County. That'll be held at 7 p.m. on the square in downtown Elyria. Of course, the venue's a little bit different because it's truly on the square near the fountain because of the work being done at the courthouse this year. But they're expecting good weather and a nice performance, and I hope everyone will come out and support that initiative. I know we're supporting it. I want to thank the board and through our Visitors Bureau being one of the sponsors to help support the event.
Can I have a second?
Sure.
I didn't see Mr. McSkee was here. I have space for you now. Great. We have we've obtained a sizable building on 28th with a sizable amount of warehouse space. We're doing some renovation to put our invasive species eradication crew, that's a mouthful,
Yeah.
in the building with our equipment, trucks, but there's an extensive amount of other space available. So the building's going to be a bit conditioned, and we're working on the access. So I want to get with you. I know I promised you space. I asked you to be patient. We have to work out a few things on the access, but I'm looking forward to partnering with the veterans and the disabled American veterans to do your storage there. So if you can drop by and make sure that Sandy and set you up with a time we can have a conversation. Sorry it took so long, but I told you I wouldn't forget. I didn't. The opportunity's ripe now.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Space is very much needed.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty close. It's right down the road from St. Joe's over on 28th, so it'll work out. Helping, you know, I said St. Joe's, but it's down from Valor Home. You know, I'll get out there with you. We'll take a look around. We'll figure out some logistics, but there's plenty, and then I'll do what I need to do to support you guys. Now, thanks for waiting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Board correspondence?
Move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Public comment?
Anybody wishing to address the board this morning?
Didn't you invite Rosa and Joe?
Yes, I did.
She raised her hand.
Oh, did you? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see. Sorry, Rosa.
Yeah, Rosa and Joe were invited to
Yeah.
speak this morning.
I'm Rosa G. I'm a Sheffield Lake councilwoman, but more than that, I'm an advocate for veterans in Lorraine County. I know I only have 3 minutes. I have a lot of events to talk to you guys about. The 103rd OVI, Sheffield Lake and Lorraine County is very privileged and very honored that the 103rd OVI made their home with us. These are our very first United States veterans. People seem to forget that. They fought for the United States. They are our very first veterans. Somehow they managed to make it through, and they're a 501c. They managed to make it through every year, all these years, without hardly any recognition and without hardly any funding. Now, September 10th, they have a pancake breakfast. Their breakfasts are always extremely cheap. Wonderful big breakfast. We're asking for everyone to please consider sponsoring with the table mats, the placemats there. And the pricing starts at a standard business card is $25, and the biggest in the ad is only $80. You can't beat those prices for helping a veterans organization, a historical organization, and a wonderful group. Do you realize that 4 acres, those people, all of them, are descendants of the 103rd OVI's infantry? That's really something to be proud of. Next events, September 10th at Black River Landing, we are having our 4th annual All Veterans Day event. We are going to have a guest speaker, Major General Donald Constantine Hilbert. He is coming, he's flying in from Washington, D.C. to speak. We're limiting our speakers tremendously this year because this is about our veterans. We're having another Vietnam-era pinning for the veterans that have not been pinned in honor of Vietnam. We're also going to have the Soldiers of History again this year. Of course, we'll have the car show and many other things happening. Our Coast Guard is coming, and they're going to give tours of their boat, and also they're going to have equipment on display. Now, with all of that being said, many of our Lorain County Veterans Posts were given free booths at this event so they could come and help raise money for their own post. Some will be selling hats. One booth is selling, AMVETS Post 55 at Sheffield Lake is selling corn on the cob. Another booth is selling cabbage and noodles. We're trying to help all our veterans organizations raise money and at the same time have a great event. So we still have some sponsorships open for that. We are hoping people will be interested in sponsoring. I have the paperwork up here. Next and final one that I'd like to talk about today is Valor Home's mural ribbon cutting project. The county commissioners had a big help in helping with Valor Home. At the same time, I notice how much labor is here today. Valor Home could not have done what they did if it wouldn't have been for the large sums of money that labor also gave. We honor them very much. Valor Home is a wonderful place. We have 22 veterans there currently. Our success rate is 80%. That's higher than anywhere else in the nation. These gentlemen get out of Valor Home and they move into their own places. They have jobs. Many of Valor Home's veterans go through Veterans Treatment Court. It's a wonderful thing. Anyhow, that event is September 24th from 6:30 to 8 p.m., and I'm sorry I went over time.
That's okay. I
Thank
invited you to come, and that was before we decided to do the 3-minute rule. So thank you for coming and letting us know what's going on.
Good job, Rosa.
Yeah, thanks, Rosa.
Love the OVI.
Yeah.
The pancake breakfast, one of the best. The people there are just wonderful. The museum, I mean,
Get there
great
early
place in
'cause there's
Lorain
never no
County.
parking.
Huh?
Get there earlier. There's
Yeah,
never no
parking's
parking.
really tough,
Yeah.
but
Anybody else wishing to address the board this morning?
Good morning, Cliff Rivenbark, 829 Marion Street, Sheffield Lake. I see your new policies. I was lucky enough to come to the meeting today, spend the time, but I was not prepared to have such a great big crowd, so I missed the agenda. So I don't really have that in front of me. My question would be, is it possible to put it online a week early? So if I do want to talk, at least I know before I walk in what I'm going to be limited to talk on. That's just one of my questions. A lot of people stand here and they're a little bit frustrated because we have such a limited amount of time to ask questions, to learn about government. And now we're not really being able to ask a question. So my question today is, where do we go to ask questions about the county government that we can get answers to the questions that we all have asked, but we have been frustrated to not have a response? So it's nice to vent, but to get no information really inflames things higher.
Sir,
So
you could always email us questions.
Okay.
We always answer our phones.
It would be nice
Or
with
call
the
us.
agenda also to know in advance so that we can. Some people may want to supplement and have a different question, so you can have duplications of comments. If it comes a budget issue and you just want to hear one budget, I have to look back and say I'm thankful for the guy that stood up here and said there was $20 million of outstanding property taxes that we should go after. And I'd like an update some point. You know, we did try and it did help a little bit, but that's still budget, but I still may want to amplify off of budget. comments, I did see on the agenda. I'm thankful that you didn't really read it, because I'll be talking to the Friedel grandparents this weekend, and although their line listed as 2, 3, and 4 for hogs, I'm glad we didn't read all that, because I will speak to the grandparents this week. But if we are limited in what we do, our time is valuable also. Birthdays and whatever else we have to gently talk about up there, it's also a waste of our time, which is valuable on this side. So please go both ways. Do your business. We'll try to do our business in 3 minutes, but be considerate. Take care of business. Accolades, retirements, all that stuff. Line list them like the pigs, but don't comment on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board this morning? Seeing none, I move that we go into executive session as outlined by the administrator and assistant county prosecutor.
Second.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorraine County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.